On September 17th, 1939, the Soviet Union sent troops into the eastern regions of Poland, taking advantage of the fact that the country was already at war with Nazi Germany. For Poland, this day became a symbol of betrayal and the beginning of a new occupation. The country ended up divided between two totalitarian powers, while the Western Allies limited themselves to verbal protests and were unable to provide real assistance. And now, 86 years later, the Poles are once again facing threats from Moscow. And the aggressor's methods are exactly the same. Back then, in September 1939, Soviet propaganda justified the invasion of its troops into the neighboring country by claiming it was to protect Ukrainians and Belarusians. They said that the Polish state was collapsing, and the Soviet Union simply wanted to provide preventive assistance. A very familiar narrative. Starting a bloody war under the guise of peace and caring for so-called brotherly nations. In 1939, when the Soviet Union sent troops into Poland and Germany, they knew that none of the Western countries would dare to stop them. Back then, Warsaw was left virtually alone against two totalitarian regimes. Now, Poland is a country of the European Union and NATO. An attack on it will be considered an attack on the entire alliance. In addition, Warsaw enjoys political and economic support from the EU. And Moscow is unable to exert real pressure on it. But in any case, the Poles remember their history well. That's why, in case of armed aggression, they have started preparing reservists. In the first 7 months of this year, a record 20,000 people signed up for training.
When I talk to my friends, many of them want to join the military. At the same time, I believe that even the least patriotic Pole has, deep down, an instinct to come together in difficult times. And this is clearly evident from the history of our country and our entire nation.
One of the main tasks of the units in peacetime is to prepare reserves. This is not something extra or, as some say, unnecessary. It is one of the core tasks. In conflicts, especially prolonged ones, it is always the reserves that win.